What's up, YouTube? Fat Kings Phil coming at you for week 29 of 2024 and my 11-year surgery anniversary, because I don't like the other word. I had surgery with Dr. Fedorak in Colorado Springs on July 16th of 2013. All these numbers are below, by the way, in case I flub them here. And then I had full 360 plastics May 26th of 2020. Remember 2020? What a fun year. For those of you that were not following along then, I had started a very strict 12-week lean down program, heavy muscle building, very tight dieting to get as lean as I could before plastics. And then, of course, the world shut down. So I had to get creative at home working out. But I did it. And then I had a revision on my plastics in January of 2021. I think I was on January 28th, 2021. So, and there was just some cleanup from, when they cut you in half, sew you back together, and they lipo you. They sometimes, wait the way things heal and where they maybe missed some stuff because you were pretty swollen up at the point that they were doing the original lipo, they have to go in and fix that, which is good times to go back through all that pain. So anyway, that's that. It's funny. I was going to try and get this out on my actual surgery date, and I'm like, there's been a lot of stuff going on lately, and I'm not that motivated. As far as it's kind of irrelevant. I'm 11 years out, but like anybody, I'm still having to fight the fight. So as you guys know from my last update, and I'll just really quickly recap, I decided to kind of do for lack of a better word, a bulking. I was just trying to get super, super strong. I'm like, hey, there's my opportunity to get super, super strong. I'm going to go ahead and allow myself to eat enough calories to be able to build muscle, which means I'm going to put on some weight. And as long as my ratios are good, I'm fine. And of course, the tool I was using was my scale, which isn't very accurate. So I feel stronger. I can do things I could not do before. I was benching my body weight. I was doing 5 sets of 5 pull-ups. I was doing all kinds of things that I just couldn't do before. And I was very happy about it. And I looked pretty good. My clothes still fit fine. Shirts were pulling across the chest here because my back and my chest had gotten a little bit wider, and so they were pulling, so I had to get bigger shirts, which freaked me out. But I had to buy slim versions of 2XL shirts, button-ups, if I wanted the buttons to stay straight, and then I had to have them tailored, right? So, matter of fact, I've got 5 I need to go tailored, which will be relevant to the rest of the story in a minute. So when I last talked to you guys, I was feeling pretty good about where I was at. I did find a DEXA scan place finally, though. I'm like, I can't tell what's going on. And I had dropped some weight when I first moved, which was almost a year ago now. It'll be a year next month. But that weight had come back. And it had come back kind of quick. And I was like, well, that's weird, because I really haven't changed my diet much. I was still eating very balanced in the sense of carbs and all those things. And, carbs and proteins and a little less fat. It was more of a lower fat diet, which normally is not my strong suit, but that's what I had done in the past to really kind of work and build muscle, proteins and carbohydrates, right? Clean carbohydrates. But, anything, look, I'm not going to say I'm 100% an angel there. Because I was working, I did have some flexibility to kind of have more off-program foods, I guess you'd say. But my weight popped up really quick, and I was like, that's not good. I was going through a lot of stress, which I think we have finally diagnosed back to cortisol levels were probably not in my favor there, but it started to freak me out. And then so I started modifying my diet more, so I'd restrict it more. And the weight didn't move. And on and on and on this went, and then it went up again. And I'm like, okay, something is wrong here. I'm freaking out, right? And I was just in a negative spot. So I think I topped out at 264, and I was like, this is terrified, right? Terrified. I'm like, I know I've not put on that much muscle. So I found the DEXA scan place. I jumped in there. The results made it worse, because when I got the results back, they're like, oh yeah, you have this many pounds of body fat and this many pounds of lean muscle. And I'm like, that's almost a 1-to-1 ratio gain from where I was. I'm like, that was not the goal. The goal was, I knew I would gain some fat, but the goal was to really gain a lot of muscle. Now, could I still do pull-ups at 264? Yeah, I could still do pull-ups at 264. I'm not talking chin-ups, I'm talking pull-ups. I'm 52. I'm like, that's pretty good for any 52-year-old, but let alone a 52-year-old, 6 foot, 260 something pounds, which was 260 pounds was just unacceptable to me. Like my brain broke when that happened. So, oh, I just noticed the dog's in the shot. Yeah, she's over there. So she'll be making noise. So long story short there, I freaked out and I just felt so helpless. And, you know, I was talking to a friend and she's like, why don't you, of all people, she's like, you did pretty well with low carb. Why don't you just try the carnivore thing for a little bit and see how it goes for you, just to get you started. I'm like, I like this idea. I think I'm going to try it. So I went very hardcore carnivore and, I mean, very restrictive. I mean, I just was like, that's all I'm eating. Meat, that's it. Meat. I did add a little cheese later, just a touch. But that was it. You know, I stuck to the hardcore and I dropped probably 10 pounds. Like, right. I was down to 255, I think is as low as I saw. Right now I'm between like 255, 257 right now. And I'm stuck again. I know that, that is because, that, you know, I basically, had a little bit of a stressful last couple of weeks and so that's the way it goes. It's fine. It'll be all right. The thing I wanted to bring to you guys' attention though was the reason I'm telling this story is the brain chemistry difference for me when I am not eating carbohydrates or not eating, you know, but getting most of my energy that way. If I'm just proteins and fats, my brain chemistry realigns in a way to where I feel in control. I don't feel like I'm like just suffering to get through the diet. Oh, I just gotta get through the day. Just don't eat anything else today. Or God, I'm craving this. I'm craving that. My brain chemistry completely changes. The way my outlook on life changes. Like I don't look at things the same way. And that's just me, right? So whatever it is in carbohydrates that make my brain go goofy, you know, it puts me in when I'm in that mode, I cannot see the ray of sunshine through the clouds. Like there's it's just a grind, a slug through the mud. Like, but now it's like, okay, well, yeah, my weight hasn't dropped for a week. Because I've been stressed out. Now, if I was on a higher carb diet, low fat diet, I'd be freaking out. I'd be making adjustments. I'd be chasing it. To where right now I'm like, oh, well, there's a lot of stress last week. How did my clothes feel? How's my ring feel? Does my ring feel loose? My ring feels looser. Friend of mine said, oh, your face looks leaner. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm losing inches. Maybe I'm getting rid of some of those inches. So I'm not freaking out, which is the weird thing because there is no, like I'm still me. Like, I mean, why do I feel so in control now? And why do I not feel so in control then? It's just gotta be brain chemistry and it's gotta be from the foods. So just something to think about if you're really like freaking out, maybe change up your eating style completely and see if that helps your mental, position and it has made it easier. Do I have a long way to go? Yeah. Well, and why am I doing this now? Okay, so did I suddenly like lose all my strength and just get super fat? No. It's just the ratio I was shooting for. The reason I allowed myself to gain weight, I did not get the result. I'm not as happy with it as I thought I would be. You know, like I'm again, like I said last time, I still felt leaner at like the 240 something level than I did at the 220 level, but honestly, now I'm changing my goal of like, okay, I got strong. That was fun. That's great. I don't want to lose all that strength, but at the same time, it'd be more important for me to have endurance. So I'm going to try I've switched my training up to very much lighter weights, higher reps, drop sets, things like that. I need to get a little more consistent on it. I'm not quite back to the consistency I was at, but, to the point where I'm eating so clean, I have had the flexibility to kind of adjust my schedule for like birthdays and things like that. My son's birthday was last week and his mom flew out and then there was, you know, events to go to, you know, everybody's eating cake around you and you're having to not eat cake. But then again, I didn't really crave the cake. And then I'm like, oh, well, I'll have one little bite of this little piece. And then you're like, oh, that was stupid. Why did I do that? I screwed up my blood chemistry for a day or two. So whatever, it's fine. It didn't set me out or break me out or anything. So I'm not freaking out about it. There's definitely some things I needed to clean up. I found out that when you're eating only meat, that any sugar alcohols you add have very negative effects, dietary or digestive effects that you don't want. So apparently I'm really super sensitive to sugar alcohols. I kind of knew that from before eating some sugar-free candies one time when I was in Chicago. Oh my God, it's so bad. Some sugar-free Jelly Bellies. I was so sick the next day. I'm having to be very sensitive about how much of that I take in. So another thing to watch out for if you do go to a lower carb diet, sugar, alcohols, while they are, certainly calorie free and should not be causing the insulin, reaction. Hey, it could be going on. So just be aware. Bad things may happen is my point. So anyway, if you guys are still doing the fight, those are just some thoughts. I'll be fighting until the day I die. I know that. My whole goal is like, hey, I gave myself a couple of years to kind of bulk up. Do I think it'll take a couple of years for me to get back down? No, but it's going to take some time. I'm just going to have to pay the price for a while. And that's the way it goes. So that's all I know. But be a year that I've been in Oklahoma next month. I'd say financially things are just now starting to kind of like settle in and things like that, which is kind of nice. I've had a couple of little weird, strange setbacks peripherally, but thank God I'm in a position to be able to help out with those things for family. And once I get all that kind of in the rearview mirror and that gets all settled, likely with the court case, I got to get some trips going, things like that. So I did have to delay some of my trips. I did get to Washington, D.C., and I did get to out to Colorado. I got out for a party. I went to, just little tiny short trips. I went to Cleveland for work, which not exciting, but we had a really good time because my whole team was there and we went out every night after work and actually had fun together, which was something that we never done before. We haven't seen each other in the office since before the pandemic, so that was kind of fun. So little things, nothing crazy. I wouldn't, go nuts over it, but that's it. So hopefully you guys are doing well. I don't want to put a rosy thing on it. A lot of times people just disappear and like, oh, they're gone. They must have gained all their weight back or whatever. And I know a lot of people kind of disappear and then, when they get it back off, they come back or whatever. It's like, oh, they don't want to seem like a failure. But I wanted to tell you guys that, hey, I really did struggle with, making a choice, getting there, realizing it's not what I actually thought it was going to be or what I wanted or what I hoped it would be. And now having to reverse that process, was very disheartening, but, it is what it is. You got to suck it up sometimes, right? I made a choice and now I gotta reverse it. And it's a lot harder. It's as hard, I think, as back when I was 360 trying to lose weight naturally. I feel like it's the same. It's just as hard now. And the only cool thing I got in my toolbox is that I can eat less and not be starving all the time. But it's not that it is still as hard. My body has adjusted to being somebody who only eats a smaller amount of food. So I'm sure I have screwed up my body, my metabolism quite bad. And the only way I know I could fix that with a refeed, but I can't afford to gain weight at this point. So I'm at a number I can't do that with. So I'm going to have to suffer back down and try and fix it at a lower weight. So it is what it is. I know it, I sound all great and positive and rah, 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 like I have in every video, because when I'm off the juice, this is how I feel in my head. But when I'm in that high carb, not on my particular eating style that's good for me, Mr. Negative Black Cloud, it's not good. So I've just learned the hard way. Now I can't tell myself this when I'm in that mode. I can only tell myself this when I'm in this mode, so I'm making this video as proof. Scribble down notes, to remind myself that if you get off the carbs, you'll feel better. So, all right, guys, that's it. I'm gonna shut up. Normally my videos are way too long anyway, so if there's anything you want to know, ask down there, and I will get back to you. Till next time, remember, it's good to be the king.